Hello and welcome. Another flat earther has published a video in which they claim to have debunked my demonstration that the earth is definitely not flat. Several of you will be very familiar by now with this particular picture and hopefully with several others. The only reason this picture is really used is because it is quite clear and quite pretty. But some people might be new to this particular subject, so I shall very quickly play a summary of the claims of my video, and then I'll deal with the so-called debunking video that's been published by My Perspective, a YouTuber called My Perspective. So here's a short video which is a summary of the claims that I'm making.
So in summary, we have here a camera taking a photograph, and the camera is 210 meters above sea level. The bridge tower, this bridge tower indicated by the arrow, is 210 meters above sea level. Here is a line drawn across the screen level with the top of that tower. And because the camera is at 210 meters and the bridge tower top is also at 210 meters, this means that everything below the red line must be less than 210 meters above sea level, but only if the Earth is flat. If the Earth is not flat, then we will see objects that are more than 210 meters above sea level below this line. This is Cairnrogh Hill. It is 413 meters above sea level. The peak of Cairnrogh Hill is below the 210 meter line. Only one conclusion is possible. Earth is not flat. Thank you for watching.
Okay, well, we're not finished there because that was just a summary of that particular photograph and what it clearly shows. Now, the YouTuber My Perspective several days ago published a comment on my channel, which you can see here. He says, "You know you're cheating, right? Or do you think your explanation is true? What have you deliberately left out?" Well, of course, I responded saying that I didn't think I'd omitted anything, and I didn't think I'd left anything out, and could he tell me what it was, and so on. And he responded to say, "Oh, so you're really not aware, or you're not aware, really? Well, let me make a vid and show folks what you are deliberately, underhanded, sneaky doing to deceive them." Now, it seems to have gone from a cryptic opening comment to being really quite rude very, very quickly. I looked this guy up. I've seen a few of his vids before. He claims to be some devout Christian. That's not a very Christian way to behave. However, I responded saying, that he was free to make a video if he wanted, but why not tell me what the error was that I'd made or the omission that I'd made? I assured him I'd done nothing deliberately underhand or sneaky, and no intention to deceive, and I'll of course acknowledge any errors that I have made. I asked whether his video would explain how the observation is possible on a flat Earth, because in my opinion it's impossible on a flat Earth, and because I've made it, it proves that the Earth is not flat. Anyway, he didn't really respond to me. A few other people got involved. The conversation thread went on, and he was contributing to it, but he didn't respond to my comment. Today, he sent another message simply with a link to his YouTube video, which he posted yesterday sometime. And I responded to say, thanks for taking the time to do this. I think you're completely wrong. And it's clear you have not watched all the videos about this observation. I have made several, unashamedly so. I've responded to people who've attempted to debunk it, and I've challenged flat earthers to try to debunk or explain the observation, and they have so far been abject failures in their attempts to do so. And I asked him whether he'd come on a hangout to discuss it, because that's much easier than back and forwards in the comments section, and even comments section is better than back and forwards with video after video. He said, go ahead and explain how the camera can be level and below the center line or horizon line. Well, I asked him again if he would come on a hangout, and I will show you the footage. Very slight camera tilt makes no difference to the observation. Remember, the distance is involved and that the camera is always at 210 meters elevations. His response was to say, why would I hang out with thugs and liars? So he's now referring to me not just as a liar and intentionally deceptive, but also a thug, which I think is, well, as I said before, unchristian. He says the pylons would have to be center. You cannot escape this fact. Well, it simply isn't a fact. It's just a plain untrue, as we shall see shortly. He says goodbye, and let's see where your lies get you. Well, I did respond and tell him I thought he'd been rather rude. To my knowledge, he has not responded to me. The thread has continued, but he hasn't contributed up to this point. Now, let's have a quick look at his video. I don't want to play all of it, partly because after about this point here, he then digresses into showing footage from high altitude balloon, and then goes on an explanation about how what's seen from high elevations is not what should be seen on a curve, or what's on a spherical Earth doesn't make sense to him in some way. And then we get into this rather bizarre section about halfway through his video where he starts talking about the movie Tommy and trying to draw some great moral tale. And to be honest, I kind of lost interest. I scanned through on the bar here and realized that all of this is just about the movie Tommy. Whether there's some message in there, moral message in there that he's trying to get through to me, I don't know. But I haven't got time to sit and listen to that kind of preaching, I'm afraid. The question is, at the beginning here, what he says about my video. And the first comment he makes, what he does is he speeds up the video. The first comment that he makes is this caption in white here. He says, he can prove the Earth is a ball with one photograph. Now, that is absolutely not what I claimed. As you've just seen in the summary, what I claim is that this observation is not possible on a flat Earth. So the Earth cannot be flat. I do not say that this proves the Earth is a ball, a sphere, a spheroid, or anything. What I have shown in my videos is that everything that is in this photograph and several other photographs is entirely consistent with the accepted scientific spherical Earth model. And that's all I'm claiming, is that this observation is absolutely consistent with the spherical Earth model, and it disproves a flat Earth model. He interjects or intersperses the bits about my video with little clips of people laughing and asking, are you serious? In an attempt to ridicule, which really falls very flat in my opinion. And simply isn't the way that one should go about trying to do an honest assessment of somebody else's work or efforts. However, I will play this portion of the video. I'll leave the sound running.
You serious? And then he went to explain the photograph, right? And the point is, his stuff is wrong and it's fake.
So he says that it's fake. Now, there's nothing fake about this. There are two things that have been added to this photograph. This is a highlighting device for my cursor, not the sun up here. And this red line has been added to the photograph. But the photograph is not fake, and I make it clear what I'm doing as I'm presenting my video.
He's deliberately lying to you.
And I'm not deliberately lying. If someone can show me an error I have made, then I will acknowledge it. I have made no attempt to deceive at all.
Right. So, how can I say that? And can I prove it? Yes, I can. And it's very simple. In his clip, right, he's saying that the camera height is 210 meters from the ground. The bridge tower height is 210. In other words, the camera height and the bridge tower height are the same height from sea level. Right. Then he says, right, for example, that the mountains behind are 500 meters from sea level. It's a joke. Why? Why is this funny? You serious?
Yeah, I'll pause here. He calls me a fool and a liar. He says the camera is in the middle, left and right of camera, also top and bottom. I'm not quite sure. Well, that sentence doesn't make sense to me. Maybe some of you can make sense of it. I think what he's trying to say is that the camera must be positioned so that the middle of the picture is striking the middle of the lens. That's probably pretty true, but it really doesn't make a lot of difference. For my camera to be at 210 meters elevation, it simply has to be at 210 meters elevation. An object that is 210 meters in elevation does not have to be located in the center of the camera lens. The camera can be tilted forwards and backwards, left and right. It can be turned on a little, rotated a little on a vertical axis. And this will move the subject of the photograph, if you like, around about frame. It does not in any way change the elevation of the camera. There's another mistake that he's making here. I'll play the video a little longer.
Well, he's lying, and it's simple. You see, there's something so basic with perspective that Miles doesn't understand. Here he is giving you a lesson on perspective, and he doesn't even understand the basics. He's so keen to mislead you that he's dug a hole for himself. He's missing the main point. So how? What is wrong with his? Well, he's saying that the height of those towers, right, and the camera height's at the same height. You don't even need to measure.
Well, they were the same height. The height of the bridge tower is confirmed as 210 meters by a website dealing with the construction of that bridge tower. The height of my camera was 210 meters above sea level on a hilltop. The very top of the hill is 221 meters above sea level, verified by a trig point, and I was just over 10 meters further down the hill with the camera at, as best I could place it, 210 meters elevation. I've always said that the camera elevation might have been a little bit below or a little bit above 210 meters because I couldn't be 100% precise. But essentially, the camera was at 210 meters or very, very close to it. These are facts. This is not a matter for dispute. However, he seems to want to claim that for some reason I'm not at 210 meters.
Measure this. What should happen? Well, then the tower should be in the middle of the image. The tower height should be in the middle of the image.
Let's have a look at this claim. So we'll come out of his video and we'll have a look at another video. I just need to find the appropriate one. I had it queued up earlier. So this is one of the videos I shot.
So you can see the sun,
13 minutes
bright sun
long.
on the left-hand side of the screen.
Mute the sound from my commentary at the time. And I think we want to come up to about here. And I'll let the video play. Now you'll see that we are at about 20 times optical zoom at this point. You can see the camera slightly tilted left to right. The ground was very uneven. It was rather difficult filming up on top of this hill. It was also fairly windy. You'll watch as the camera is moved around slightly and tilted, the bridge towers change in their location on the screen, but the relative heights of the bridge tower and the hills in the background never actually changes. I zoom in more and move the camera a little bit around. I'm trying to just get it to fix a nice stable position. You can see that at various points, like here, the top of the bridge tower is indeed pretty much in the center of the screen, and it's still well above the height of the hill to the right here, which we've already stated is 413 meters above sea level. It's also higher than some other hills, which are over 500 meters. So I'll just let it play. You can see that the bridge tower goes to the nearer to the top of the screen and ends up going lower down the screen, or it has been much lower down the screen. And we zoom in and out, and it makes absolutely no difference to the observation. It remains completely static whether the camera is tilted or not. It is simply tilting the camera forwards and backwards by minuscule amounts that causes the subject of the picture, which is the bridges in the center here, to move around the screen in that fashion. I have other videos, one of which I've published, which shows the tower being right up in this top corner, right down in this bottom corner, all over the screen, and still always above the height of the hills in the background. So he is utterly wrong to state that the camera must be, the tower must be right in the center of shot if my camera is at 210 meters. Camera is at 210 meters, and the tower is sometimes in the center of shot and sometimes not. It really depends how I'm moving the camera. Let's go back to his video and see what else he has to say.
Jesus there means that the camera couldn't have been at the same height as the tower. Because if you're at the same height, in other words, if I'm at the same height as the person in front of me, right, and I point my camera towards the man's head's got to be in the middle of the camera, because that's where.
So he goes on here a little bit. He shows that he shows part of my video. He also presents some modeling that he's done. And he's basically claiming in this modeling, he moves the camera around, up and down, left and right, and so on. And in an attempt to show that horizon line always remains in the middle of his shot. Well, it's always going to remain in the middle of this particular shot because that's the way he set the thing up. But notice that these objects are moving around as his camera moves around. The position of these changes as he moves the camera around. So this is his claim, is either that the camera was tilted. Well, we've just seen that tilting makes no difference at all to the observation. So that's not an issue. And the camera height. Well, the camera height is verified by the hill on which I was located. And we can see, I hope, if I can find the correct little video. My files are in a bit of a mess here. I really need to sort this stuff out. I'm trying to, here we go. It's the one on the camera phone. If we look at this video, this was shot on my camera phone at the top of the hill. There are some Exmoor ponies up there, and you can see the Forth Estuary and the North Sea in the background, and this is the trig point at the top of the hill. And you can verify this by looking on Google Earth yourself. The trig point is visible, as is this little circle of stones built as a little shelter for climbers who have made their way to the top of the hill. It's not a very high hill, but it is quite steep. And shortly, we will, just zooming in a little bit on the trig point to give you an idea, you can see how that I was quite a distance below the height of the hill. Just to give you a rough idea, the trig point is probably 4.5 feet high. This is probably about 1 meter high, and you can judge yourself that we are quite some number of meters down the hill. Maybe not quite 10, but I think we were pretty close to that. The camera's a little bit lower than the place where I'm standing at the moment. Here we have the cameras. As you can see, they were rather lower than the position I was standing. It's a little compact camera that I use for the zoom, a little cheap tripod, but it's quite an effective little thing. Slightly better tripod with the DSLR camera and the Tamron lens on it. I didn't get such good footage from the Tamron lens, although some of it was quite useful. And you can see Phuket Law there, another identifiable landmark. Just stopped at Phuket Law was this triangular shaped, very conical shaped hill just here. And we also have the Bass Rock, which is an island bird sanctuary in the estuary. And you can see the Bass Rock there. And to the right of the Bass Rock, the Isle of May. This is the direction of the observation. And this is towards the Pentland Hills. I'm just doing a quick 360 around here back to the trig point. So the location is absolutely verified, and by verifying the location, we verify the elevation. So, just from my perspective, the elevation is correct. The tilt of the camera makes no difference at all to the observation. And that's really all you had to say. I think you probably realized that you had absolutely no explanation for this on a flat Earth, and you then proceeded to preach about what high altitude you should see from a high altitude balloon, which you also got completely wrong, by the way, and then went on about an old movie from the 1960s or 70s called Tommy, 1970s, I think. And what that has to do with my observation, I really don't know. So perhaps you should try again. Thanks for watching, everyone.